On the 7th of July, I flew out to Las Vegas. I haven't been there for 12 years, so it was a real experience being able to experience it at a young age versus seeing it now. Wouldn't say a huge amount has changed, but in this video, I want to talk about 6 lessons from 6 nights in Las Vegas. So let's get right into it. Now, the first lesson is the fact that environment is everything. So there's a few things that occurred on this trip. One of them being the fact that I flew out business class. And so I had my nice little reclining seat. I got to lay all the way back, got a few hours of sleep in, and it was just an awesome experience, right? Being on the 3rd row on the plane. And then also when I got to the other end, I was staying at one of the more prestigious hotels, the Cosmopolitan. I had a private suite there. So I pretty much had a living room, 2 bathrooms. I had everything, and it was just me. So one person might ask the question, well, why would you go to all of that expense for a trip of this nature? Now, anytime I travel, I always travel at the best level that I can, or the best feasible level that's available at that particular time. And the reason I always aim to do that is because the environment that you're in does 2 things, or it serves 2 real purposes. One is the fact that you give yourself a higher likelihood or higher propensity to be around other winners, be around other people that are doing or achieving great things. If you think about the fact that when you're traveling business class, first class, or any of those classes, you're going to be around other people that are successful in some capacity. And so being around them, having the opportunity to meet them, sitting next to one of them, you just don't know who you're going to meet. And it's no different to if you think of any asset that you might have. If you have a supercar, for example, or a Rolex, when you're around other supercar owners, it allows you to go to supercar clubs and meet other wealthy and successful people. If you have a Rolex, you can immediately identify with other Rolex owners to enable you both to have a conversation, get to know each other. And so it helps you to yield a better network, yield better people around you. So then why do I do things like getting a suite? Now, this is all about mindset. When you're in an environment where you wake up and you look around and you feel inspired and you feel proud of where it is that you're waking up and what you're surrounded by and the view that's outside your window, all of these things can make a huge, huge difference on actually how you feel, the way that you're able to attack the day, and to give you that extra fuel in the tank to continue to push forward in whatever it is that you're doing. So really, lesson number 1 from the first night, environment is everything. Now, the next thing is to live on your own terms. So not to be controlled by really any form of external. So on this particular trip, it was actually the first trip that I've ever done where I didn't take my watches. So anyone who knows me knows I've started to build up a decent little watch collection. But I left all of them at home, and I left all of them intentionally for this particular trip. So why would I do that? It was just another step for me to make sure that at no given time am I controlled by my assets or controlled by anything that is external to what's in here, the content of my character, becoming best version of self internally. That's really what life is all about to me. It's about really being able to realize best version of me and impacting others in the world as well. So I want to always make sure that I'm not controlled by external factors, not overly consumed by having a nice car, not overly consumed by having a nice watch. So you have to test these things, and you've got to do them in real life to make sure that you're actually making the difference for yourself. So I said, look, I'm for the first time ever going to leave all of my watches. And there's something about it that was quite refreshing. When I got out there and not having it, at first it felt weird, but it was a really good experience. And since I've come back to the UK, I've actually found myself being a bit more hit and miss with wearing my watches so far, because I've done it now, and it allows me to have that detachment factor and maintain that level of indifference, which I've spoken about on other videos before. So something definitely worth a try in your own world. Think of your assets, think of your externals, and think about ways that you can make sure you're detached, so you're never all consumed at any given time. The next thing is to constantly be vigilant and be ready at any given time. When I first landed in Vegas, I got there fairly late evening. And then by the time I checked in, settled my bag down it got pretty late. It was getting to like 10, 11 o'clock, something like that. But I was trying to get my body clock to readjust to being out in the US, 8-hour time zone difference between being out there in Vegas and the UK. So my body clock was on one time. Of course, it was a different time out there. So I just immediately showered, got outside, went for a walk from about midnight till about 3:30 a.m. in the morning. So think about it, I'm walking the Las Vegas Strip late at night by myself. It's important at any given time to be vigilant and be ready. There's a saying out there that, you know, as a man, you need to be dangerous, but not necessarily show it, right? Not necessarily always have it on external display. And I think it's always important to have that mindset where you're primed. You're always looking out for making sure that, you know, there's nothing crazy going on beside you. And so little things that I do is, for example, instead of wearing 2 headphones, I'll wear 1 headphone, keep the volume low. That way I can make sure I can hear what's going on around me. When I'm taking corners, I don't take the immediate part of the corner, but I'll walk round or take the wider part of the corner so I can see what's going on around that corner before I get into it. So just all of these, even for example, being on an escalator, I don't stand straight forward, I stand on the side so I can look left and look right. So there's all these small tactics which you need to keep in mind, especially when you're traveling, but even in your home country, to make sure that you're ready at any given time, you're vigilant all of the time, and you're prepared for whatever may come at you. I remember the day I was actually leaving Vegas, actually the day before that, an article came out because the hotel next door to mine, so Caesar's Palace, was someone got held hostage. A woman was getting held hostage. So it was insane to think that just literally over the road, someone's getting held hostage. So it was just another example of why it's so important to be ready at any given time. The next thing is to never 100% ease off of the gas. So you've got to make sure that your priorities are in place and that you're also prepared. So what do I actually mean by that? Before I went to Vegas, I made sure I actually went into overdrive to make sure all of my weekly commitments were done a couple of weeks in excess. So the videos that I needed to record, my newsletter, my podcast, my work, my day-to-day, I made sure that I did almost everything 2 weeks in advance. So I went into overdrive for a couple of weeks before so that I'd be a couple of weeks ahead. So the preparation is key. But the next thing is, while I was in Vegas, every morning I did something. So I did some form of work, whether it was reviewing stuff, checking in with teams, making sure that all of the work that had been done was proper in terms of grammar, spelling, etc. I always did something. So never 100% foot off the gas. So even on a holiday or traveling, some people will say, well, look, you should just turn off completely, complete reset. And if that's what you need, do what you need to do. But the way I look at it is being disciplined is not a moment in time thing. It's not like motivation where it comes and it goes and it dips. Discipline is based on your identity of self. So when I say I'm disciplined, that's just who I am as a person. So that doesn't mean I turn it on one day and then turn it off and then I'm back and then I'm off. No, I'm disciplined, which means whether I'm traveling, whether I'm in the UK, wherever I am, I've got to keep to my routine. And so if you need to ease off the gas a little bit, fine, but make sure that you've prepped and done the excess of work before you're traveling. If you actually need to ease off the gas completely, again, do a month's worth of work in advance to then give yourself that runway. But when you're truly committed to your goals and you're prioritizing effectively, it means that you're going to consistently have to check in and keep a pulse on what's going on. And when you're passionate about what you do and you enjoy what you do, that's not viewed as a chore. That's just part of the world that we chose, and that's part of the life that I've chosen. So never 100% be off the gas, always be on it at any given time. The next thing is the fact that alcohol can actually compromise your experience. So anyone who's been following the channel will know that I stopped drinking about a year or so ago. I've never drunk a lot. I've always been a very light drinker, but I just stopped completely about a year ago. It's been one of the best things that I've done. And the reason that I did it is because I've chosen that right now, my priority is on my work, my career, taking my businesses to the level that I need to get them. And I don't want anything to compromise that. And I realized that when I drunk, the recovery time, the hangovers. Even if I didn't drink a lot, it might set me back by a few hours or a few days, and I'm not willing to pay that price. My goals are just much more important. But when I was out there, I was with friends and spent some time with family, and you come to just realize how alcohol is just a part of life for most people. But then I would see for those same individuals, the fact that they would be set back, hungover, getting up late, not able to do the things that they needed to do. And I said, look, that's not a price I'm going to pay. So just think about the impact alcohol is having on your life. Ask yourself, is it something that you have to do? Do you need to drink as much as you are? Can you cut that back? Where are your priorities? What's more important right now? And really make sure that you're making the right decision, because I've found that there's no real compromise in my enjoyment, the fun that I have. I'm able to then be more productive, still have the same amount of fun, but I'm not being set back or compromised from achieving my goals. So ask yourself those same questions and figure that same thing out for yourself. Now, the sixth thing, and the last thing, that is 6, isn't it, is to not stop your routine. So even while I was out there, of the 6 nights that I was there, I trained 5, and on 2 of the days I trained twice a day. Because it was 43 degrees Celsius out there. For the US watches in Fahrenheit, I think it's about over 110 or maybe closer to 120, something in that range. It was hot. It was absolutely baking hot. I remember going for a run one of the days with a boxer, and that was super intense. It's just that the heat was crazy. But the point I'm making is I stuck to my routine. So I continued to train. I did the work that needed to be done. I still had the fun and I still was able to go out, but my routine wasn't compromised. So that also includes my meditation. I meditated mornings, I meditated at nights. I did all of the same activities that I would do in the UK, even though I was abroad. So the message from this is to stick to your routine. Don't compromise on your routine. Whether you're in your home country, whether you're abroad, the work still needs to get done, and the things that help you optimize your brain, your body, and your spirit, you still need to make sure you get those things done. Again, this is about self-identity. It's about discipline. It's not about the ups and the downs and the ebbs and the flows. Those are for the people that aren't serious about crushing their goals. Those are for the people, for the 99% that aren't going to get it done. We're the 1%, so we get done what we need to get done in any given situation, because our goals and accomplishment and our mindset is the most important thing. So those are 6 lessons from 6 nights in Vegas. I hope that you can see ways that you can apply them in your own life. I hope that this has been helpful in some way. Make sure to check out the links in the description. I very recently have released a program to help working professionals transition into a career in SaaS sales, software sales, which, as we know, has completely changed my life. I'd love to be helpful, so check out the links in the description and let's see how I can be helpful to you on your journey. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.